All right, Samantha, I'm so excited to dive into horror, your career, your awesome work in the Terrifier movies, but also you're a director and writer yourself. There's so much to dive into with you.
So much, too much, right? I was like,
No, it's awesome. And what I love to do, especially with people in the horror genre, when I get you on the podcast, I want to ask you, what is your horror origin story? Was this something you liked growing up? And what were some of your early memories, even if you didn't like it? What are some things that scared you or stuck with you from horror?
I'm a late bloomer when it comes to the horror genre. Terrifier is the reason that I have such a strong love and appreciation for it now, which began about a decade ago. Because I'm dating myself. That was when we did the first Terrifier. But I grew up in a New York Italian family. We were watching like Goodfellas and Godfather and all those amazing movies. Even my cousin Vinny, a lot of Italian American movies. But even just dramas and stuff like that. But I remember loving horror for the specific reason of wanting to be scared with my friends or even like a boyfriend just to like have an excuse to cuddle up when I was in my teens. So that was like my experience when I was younger. And I just remember being extremely horrified, which was working for the purpose of what I was trying to do at that point in time. But even to this day, like I have a difficulty watching Terrifier films. Like I watch them, I'm in the audience, but I even though I know what's going on, I still can't like actually watch what's going on in certain scenes. So I haven't
I'm
like there's
sure.
some scenes I haven't collectively actually seen in their entirety.
I mean, honestly, even me, I'm a horror fan, even the Terrifier movies, and I'm sure the horror fans would not love us talking about My Cousin Vinny, but we can Marissa Tomei quote all
Oh
day
my
if you want
God.
to. Like,
I
my
can
biological clock is
literally, it's
ticking.
ticking. Like, I'm like, say you're a little deer and you put your lips to the water and bam, bullet rips
Oh,
off you.
you know,
Oh my God, I love that.
when the inevitable My Cousin Vinny remake happens, call Samantha, guys. Some
Oh
producer
God,
who's
but we
watching.
wouldn't want that though. There you
I
go.
know,
We're like,
I
no
know.
remaking My Cousin Vinny. Marissa Tomei is perfect and Joe Pesci. You know who's a big My Cousin Vinny fan? Spencer from Iceland Kills. He was when I met him in Austin, Texas, where he was quoting with someone else in the distance, my cousin Vinny, and I was like, "What?" Like,
Your Italian
what do
American
you?
ears were like,
I was like, "What did you say?" Exactly. And then all of a sudden, he was like, "What you?" And then we went on a little
oh,
a
that's
little quote
amazing.
a quote banter. But yeah,
No, and you
that's
you spoke
amazing.
about it a little bit there with that journey. You know, you started Terrifier such a bit ago now in the journey. Did you ever expect one the franchise and let alone your character to go on the journey that
No.
it's gone on?
No, because actually, weirdly enough, after like every film, well, the first two films, I think I was supposed to die at the end of each film. And then in the tale goes that in Terrifier 2, we had filmed scenes with Chris Jericho where Art the Clown was coming out of the back of my head, but that would have killed my character. And then Malignant came out, and Damien's like, we need to reshoot, we need to rethink, like we can't have this ending because it was so similar.
Mhm.
So no, I didn't think my character was ever going to go on this journey. I did know after Terrifier 2, Damien had expressed the directions he wanted to go in and was super excited by her, becoming possessed and ultimately a villain. Not Victoria Hayes as the villain, but ultimately like the entity and
Yeah.
that part of the lore. But and then in terms of the success, a lot of people think it's overnight, and I keep saying, and as the fans know, and the horror genre fans know, is this has been a slow, slow build for 10 years, like a beautiful growing with the fan and the base. And it really is thanks to the fans that we're even where we are and why we even have the success to this day. But no, I think we're all still like in shock.
I
I
know
don't think
for
any of us has processed it and like really understand the success because it's not even just like a successful film, it's like history making.
Yeah, no, I mean now
Yeah.
it's like the most highest grossing underrated, unrated movie and all that. It's
Mm,
great, and I
mm.
love to see the growth. And you talk about the Terrifier fans, and they're so lovely as well. For the grossest movie like ever, the fans are always like, "But we love." It's like the cuddliest thing. I mean, that's kind of what I've gotten from
They're
Damien
like,
and
we
you and
love
Lauren.
you. We love the film. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
it's great. I'm like always like, what is it that you like about it though? Tell me more. I'm curious. No, but there's so much to love about it. But yeah, the fans are the
yeah,
nicest, and I've had the most beautiful, touching experiences meeting people along the way that are like
yeah.
near and dear to my heart.
Especially, I mean, the female side of this. We'll get into that a little bit more in a second.
Mm.
But did you ever want to see like the Victoria character and the Sienna character kind of like intertwine in a good way. Did you want to see them team up? Because like you and Lauren, I need to see y'all be bad
I
girls
love
together.
Lauren.
I
Well, it's funny
know.
because I actually I said to Lauren, I love Lauren. Lauren is like one of my favorite people. I'm really grateful to Terrifier 3 because I got to work really closely to her and get to know her. And I'm such a fan of Sienna. I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that as of,
Yeah, come
as
on.
but I am and of Lauren, Sienna's final girl, and I am. But I mean, I would always take any chance to work with Lauren, but we would definitely kick ass if we were on the same side for sure. But also
Terrifier
we had
4,
a
come
lot of
on.
fun. And any excuse to just to be up in Lauren's space anymore, I'll take that as
I know. I love the meme of being going around of people when Art just smacking the back of her head. I love that that's just
that's
been a gag, and
everywhere.
I'm like, it is
Oh my
one of the
God.
funniest things I've seen this year of just
It is, it's hilarious. And every time I've been, because I've seen this film 4 times in different theaters in different countries, and which is always interesting with the fans because every audience in different countries do respond a little bit differently.
Mhm.
But that is like one of the one scenes where like it's a consistent like laugh, like, and I was like, if anyone knew that Lauren was getting hit maybe like 30 plus times that day just for it to be on screen 3 times.
Oh my goodness. So I
Yeah.
have to ask you about your horror short that you've crafted,
Mm,
and I think it's on the festival circuit now. It's Open Your
yeah.
Eyes, I believe it's called. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
tell me about that because I mean, I love females in horror. Our women horror filmmakers, we need that. I love it so much.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
me about that.
So it's funny, I'm like, I didn't come from horror and I'm like Terrifier franchise and now like I did a psychological horror, but it stemmed from, I always I write my own stuff. So, especially early on in my career, before I was learning the craft of writing, I would have moments in my life where I'd have a dream or something. I'd get inspired by some sort of thing and it would like come surging out of me into some sort of script, whether it was short form or long form. So Open Your Eyes was, it stemmed from a dream that I had where I was walking through this corridor, looking into these really these rooms that were disturbing things were unfolding in these rooms, and I was passively watching them until this little girl at the end of the dream warned me, "Open your eyes. He's going to come for you. You just need to look him in the eyes. Open your eyes." And something that's been really magnificent about the horror genre specifically is it's a really beautiful place to explore themes of trauma. Um, And one thread, even I do like a range. Like when I write, it depends on what comes out. It could be a thriller, it could be a drama, it really just depends on the story that comes out of me. Um, but one thread that really runs through is I'm really interested in trauma, whether it's for women or men or children or anyone for that matter, any individual. Um, and and so that's how Open Your Eyes kind of stemmed, and it really is an exploration of like things that have been done or have happened, trauma, grief, events, and how we process them. Do we put them away, pretend that they don't exist, or do we face them? And yeah, that's Open Your Eyes, and I've, like I said, I've learned over the past decade how amazing that the horror genre is in that exploration, which is exciting because I feel like there'll be a lot more exploration in the future.
I mean, even Terrifier 3 touched on that. That was something, people talk
Mm,
about the gore and that, and I'm like, but the PTSD that both these main characters are going through,
hmm
I think it was touching, and horror is that space to kind of talk about heavy hitting subjects and these touchier
definitely.
things. And how is there something that you want to bring to set or bring to your films that kind of are respectful or at least making horror a safer spot? I know safe space triggers some
Yeah.
people sometimes. I'm like,
There's a
oh, trying
lot
to
of words
avoid
that
that.
trigger a lot of people. I
I
know there's a
know,
list I'm not allowed to say, but
is there something that you wanted to bring to horror to make it feel more comfortable, especially for women who have gone through
yeah.
domestic violence or trauma
Yeah,
from
yeah,
children? Sometimes it can be
yeah,
hard, but if we know love's being made
yeah.
there.
Well, it's interesting because I definitely, and I've always openly spoken about this. I come from a relationship at one point in my lifetime that there was domestic violence, where physical violence, and a big thing that I really love to talk about and discuss is that experience because I want my experience to be useful to someone else who might be, you know. So when I got involved in the horror, the Terrifier franchise, I remember reading that script and being like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is so violent. And something Damien talks about a lot is when you read like a Terrifier script, art doesn't jump off the page. Like the humor is not in the read. It's when him and David are working together and it's on the screen that you get the shifts. Um, but I had a very difficult time. But then I've met people along the journey, fans who I've said I've had touching moments with, who have said to me, horror films are what taught me to fight back.
Mm.
And I had a woman tell me that. She said she was almost killed in her relationship in the UK. And I, because I had asked her, because I was so ignorant to like, I was like, why? Why do you like these films? They're so violent. Um, and she told me that, and it shifted my perspective and really gave me a love and an understanding that I was so out of my own prior to that. And I think with women specifically, it is shifting and it's changing. And even just like, I mean, we're in an era now where there's so many like badass final girls, and there were badass final girls in history before even just the past decade, but like just in terms of really dealing with things in a very raw and real way, which is what Lauren does when she's,
Mhm.
she's portraying Sienna. But I think we're definitely seeing it, and we're seeing a different type of taste, for that in this genre space, which is exciting. I mean, from I haven't seen The Substance yet, but I'm so excited to see The Substance. But I was a big fan of Revenge, so I was
Oh,
like, I'm just,
yes.
but you know what I mean? It's like bad, it's badass, and I think it's important to have that space, because I really do think horror is such an amazing opportunity to tackle these really intense subject matter, but almost get to the audience on a subliminal level. And I think like I said, it's a way where people are affected, but also they're having a good time. So it doesn't feel like heavy-handed. And
Yeah.
there's so much work that can get done in that space. And I'm excited to explore that for sure.
Trust me, as a young gay kid growing up, I saw Sydney Prescott and I was like, I am her. Like, I want to be
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Get rid of the baddies. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I love that. So I relate to that
yeah.
female perspective of like, oh, I love these
Mm,
characters. So to lighten
mm,
things up a little bit, my final question for you, since we got
yeah,
a little bit serious there, I
yeah.
wanted to ask you, what do you want to see for Terrifier 4? We know it's on the way one
Mm,
day soon, let's hope. But what would you like
yeah.
to see from it? Are you one of those people that you want to see what Damien cooks up and you're like,
Oh,
whatever you
100%.
can, what do you do?
I said to Damien, I was like, I'm a convert. And he's like, that might be the best like text I've ever got. Like it's like that's like high praise that I'm like a horror convert. But no, I'm a fan of Terrifier. Like I'm a huge fan of Dave and Laura, and I'm like a huge fan of their work. I'm a huge fan of what they've done in the series. And I'm so excited to see that final showdown. Like because I'm like in Terrifier 3, there was a crazy end sequence of chainsaw. Like that was pretty big. So
Yeah,
where is it gonna go? And Damien likes to push the boundaries. So I'm like, how high can they bring it? And I think I'm like, show me. I want that final showdown. I want to see what Lauren and David do. And it's gonna be, I imagine, so absolutely insane.
I love that you sound just as much of a giddy fan as the rest of us. Look at that. That horror
Oh, I
convert
am. I
has
am.
worked. I
It's like
loved it.
it really is. Because I love the people, and I love
Mhm.
from top down, from Damien to Phil to the cast to the crew. That we have just amazing. We've become like this dysfunctional family. And it's just exciting. And it's exciting to see
Oh,
people and fans walk out of screenings and be happy and smile. And I'm like, I want to keep doing that. And I also want to be a part of that. So I'm excited. I am.
yeah. People have been in this industry, like, Dee Wallace and, these people have been here forever that love it and love the fans. So please join us. Please be here 30
Oh,
years
I'm here.
later,
I'm here for
still
it.
doing
Listen,
horror too. It's great.
I
No,
am
thank you,
down.
Samantha, for
I'm
speaking with me today. It
no,
was
thank you
awesome.
so much. And happy Halloween and have fun.
Happy
Have fun.
Halloween as well. Thank you.